In this heartfelt story, Sarah discovers the profound power of prayer as she navigates her father's health crisis. From the depths of uncertainty to moments of unexpected miracles, her faith transforms not only her circumstances but also her inner world. This emotional journey reveals how surrendering to a higher power brings peace, strength, and healing, even in life's most challenging moments. Please subscribe my YouTube channel and press the bell icon for new update. Prayer was always a quiet part of Sarah's life, tucked into the corners of her day like a well-loved bookmark. It wasn't until her world unraveled that she realized its true power. The day started like any other, rushing out of the door, juggling work deadlines and running errands. By afternoon, everything shifted. A phone call shattered her carefully constructed routine. Her father had suffered a stroke. The hospital felt like a labyrinth of sterile walls and hushed voices. Doctors spoke in medical terms she barely understood, and the weight of uncertainty pressed heavily on her chest. She sat by her father's bedside, his hand cold in hers, and for the first time in years, Sarah whispered a prayer not out of habit, but from the depths of her soul. "Please, give me strength," she murmured, her voice trembling. She wasn't sure who she was speaking to or if anyone was listening, but the act itself felt like a lifeline. The days turned into a blur of worry and waiting. Each morning, Sarah found herself drawn to a quiet corner of the hospital chapel. There, she prayed not just for her father's recovery, but for the strength to face whatever lay ahead. At first, her prayers were desperate and clumsy, filled with tears and questions. Why him? Why now? But over time, something began to shift. The chapel became a sanctuary. In its stillness, Sarah found a kind of solace she couldn't explain. Her prayers evolved, becoming less about asking and more about surrendering. She didn't have control over the outcome, but she realized she could find peace in trusting that she wasn't alone in this journey. One evening, after a particularly difficult day, Sarah sat by her father's side. The steady beep of the heart monitor was the only sound in the room. She reached for his hand, closed her eyes, and prayed aloud, "Thank you for the time we've had. Give us the grace to accept what comes next." To her surprise, her father's fingers twitched. It was the smallest movement, but it felt like a miracle. In the days that followed, he began to show signs of improvement. Each small step, his first smile, the faint sound of his voice felt like an answer to her prayers. But the true transformation wasn't just in her father, it was in Sarah. Prayer had become more than a request or a ritual. It was a source of strength, a way to find light in the darkness. Even on the hardest days, she felt a quiet assurance, a sense that she was being held by something greater than herself. Months later, as Sarah wheeled her father out of the hospital, she paused to look back at the chapel. She smiled, knowing it wasn't just her father who had been healed. Prayer had changed her, too. It had taught her to find strength and faith, even when the path was unclear. It wasn't about the answers. It was about the connection, the profound realization that she was never truly alone.